Update. My 28 male girlfriend, 31 female of 3 years, confessed to me that she only started dating me because she knew I had a massive crush on her for a very long time, and her roommate convinced her to go on a single pity date with me. Original post. So I have had a mega crush on my girlfriend ever since school days. We were the same school, although she was one class ahead on me. Now, my crush was such that everyone in my school knew. Like, if I was anywhere near her, people would just give a mischievous smile to both of us. If we were sitting near each other, then my friends would tease me mercilessly. Lol. In short, it was impossible for her to not know about it. But I never had the courage to ask her out. After school, we moved to different parts of the world for our education, and we were not even Facebook friends. Anyways, around 3.5 years ago, I was attending the birthday celebration of a friend when I saw her again. It was her alright, only she had become even more gorgeous and awesome. The friend whose birthday I was attending was a mutual friend from our school, and he of course knew about my crush. There were 2 or 3 more mutual friends there who also knew, and they kept encouraging me to go and talk to her. So I finally went up to her with my heart in mouth and had a small talk with her. She of course recognized me from school, and we had a nice talk and then we exchanged numbers and socials. So with great trepidation, I did some light detective work to find out if she is single or not. To my great relief, I didn't find the presence of any guys in her feed, so my hopes went up a little. I reached out to her to hang out, fully expecting her to turn me down, but she accepted to my great surprise. So we hung out and I found out that we had a lot in common, and then we decided for our next meetup. Things picked up from there and eventually we became boyfriend and girlfriend. She's everything I expected and more, plus she's also extremely happy with our relationship. We have been discussing marriage too. Anyways, last weekend we hosted her BFF and husband for dinner at our house. The BFF is someone whom I had known during our school days, and she's a good friend too. After dinner we were shooting the breeze, and except me, everyone was pretty drunk as they were staying the night at our place. So we were talking when her drunk BFF suddenly turned to my girlfriend and said, "Look how happy you are today, and I feel some sense of pride after looking at you too." I smiled and said, "Well, thank you." Then she continued talking to my girlfriend and said, "You didn't even want to give this guy a chance, and only agreed when I pestered you to go on a pity date with him, and your plan was to let him down easy after the sad date. But instead, you guys are sitting here talking about your future together, and it makes me so happy that I convinced you to take a chance with him. Can you imagine if you had stuck to your original plan?" Her husband by now realized the awkwardness and led her away to sleep. I could see in my girlfriend's face that she was visibly stressed. So we went to bed too, and when she came to bed after changing clothes, she was already in tears. She took my head at hers and said, "Please don't mind her words." I asked her if it's true, and she admitted yes, it was. She knew I always had a massive crush on her, so when I asked her out, she didn't want to be mean by turning me down harshly. So she discussed it with her BFF, who was also her roommate at the time, about the situation. The BFF knew me, so she tried to convince her to give me a chance, but the girlfriend was not convinced. Finally, the BFF asked her to go on 2 to 3 dates with me, and then let me down easy, and girlfriend agreed. But then she found out we really clicked together and wanted to continue dating, and well, here we are 3 years later. I hugged her and said it's okay, don't worry about it too much as it's water under the bridge. But as you guys can tell, it's obviously bothering me. And I think she has started to catch on too, and she has been extra attentive and loving to me since the incident. So guys, on the one hand, I am the guy who is literally going to be engaged and eventually married to my crush. And it's even better because our relationship is just how I imagined it to be, only 10 times better. On the other hand, it does sting a little to know that she only agreed to go out with me because she pitied me, not gonna lie. Please knock some sense into me before I self-sabotage this wonderful relationship. Thank you. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Don't let this sour what sounds like a really beautiful relationship. I know it sucks to hear that the backstory to your first date wasn't what you thought it was, and the way it was told to you was a little crappy, but I think it says a lot about what an awesome guy you are, because after just one date she completely changed her mind about you. And her reaction to this really shows how much she cares for you. She didn't try to minimize it, and she didn't try to lie about it either. It sounds like she's validating your feelings and is being sweet and supportive. And remember, this was all based on her opinion of you before she really got to know you. And regardless of the reason, she did decide to go out with you, and she fell for you. You got your dream girl and you guys sound really happy together. I think it's actually a really sweet story. Also, it very much could be that she didn't want to date OP because he never confessed, but everyone still knew of his crush. In high school, something similar happened with one of my friends. There was a guy who had a crush on her since they were in elementary, and almost everyone knew about it. But the guy wouldn't even talk to her. Over half their lives of knowing each other, and she barely knew anything about him. Because while he liked hovering around her, he also simultaneously avoided her like the plague. Kid was one of those genuinely nice guys. The kind that everyone would agree whoever he ended up with would be treated like a queen no matter what. And we hoped he ended up with someone who also treated him like a king. But hovering around someone you liked and never uttering a single word to them for years kinda leaves a sour taste in your mouth. Especially if you hadn't had a chance to figure out if you liked them back, because you never had a decent conversation. But the whole school is basically pressuring you to date them. He finally confessed the summer before our senior year, and they dated for a few weeks. She later told me she partly said yes because she didn't want to be labeled a witch when we came back to school, but also because she was genuinely interested in him based on the little she knew. But during those few weeks, he basically ghosted her because of anxiety of finally landing his dream girl. The few times they did talk, the conversations were bone dry and uncomfortable. They mutually broke up in the end. I still talk to her, didn't really know him, and she mentioned that she and him still talk and he seems a lot more mature and confident in himself. But at the moment, they're just good friends. I don't even know why you would beat yourself up about why she decided to go out with you. So yeah, she went out on a pity date with you. But your looks and personality won her over, without even realizing the deck was stacked against you initially. And here you are, 3 years later, with your longtime crush in love with you. Recognize the win, my dude. Seriously. Opie went to the Relationship Olympics as an underdog and won gold. Good for them. Not only that, the girlfriend sounds kind. There's nothing negative here for Opie, really. And now for the update. So I guess I should tell what happened after I made a post. In the morning, the BFF apologized for her insensitive comments the night before. She said she got too drunk, and that she just wanted to take credit for setting us up and playing a matchmaker. But being drunk, she blurted out some unnecessary things. I said, of course. You don't have to apologize, as I have to thank her for me and my girlfriend going on a first date. After the BFF left, I went to my girlfriend and shared my feelings. I'd asked her why she was hesitant on going out with me. She then took my hands in hers and told me that it just felt awkward to her. She had known for years that I had a crush on her. On top of that, I was younger and junior than her. Her friends from back home sometimes used to tease her by using my name, and almost all of our mutual friends know about my crush on her. So when I asked her out, she felt awkward because 1, I was more into her than she was into me even before going out on a single date. And 2, I had her on a pedestal and she was certain that reality was never going to meet my fantasy. So she wanted to avoid going through this. Also, she thought I was a weirdo. She admitted it. Lol. But after BFF went to bat for me, she decided to go out with me, and then let me down easy after 2 to 3 dates. Then I asked, well, what changed after the first date? And she said, well, you didn't give off any weird vibes. Yes, you were very happy and nervous as a result, but I didn't get any creepy vibes from you. You were just a guy with a crush, with whom I had insane chemistry even on the first date. And now 3 years later, I think I have a bigger crush on you than you ever had on me. After this conversation, we went out to have dinner at the same restaurant where we had our first date, and even tried to order the same dishes. But alas, they had discontinued one of the dishes. Then we decided to order something entirely new, which we both had never had. Anyways, that was the update, guys. Thank you for reminding me how lucky I am. I love this. This sub is such a heartbreaking sub, so it's nice to see a happy post. Goes to show once again how important good communication is. I didn't see your first post, but I just wanted to say I can relate to your girlfriend. I knew my partner had a crush on me for about a year, and it made me hesitant to give him a chance because I was so scared of hurting his feelings and losing him as a friend. Then one night we got drunk, made out, and he was so sweet. He just held me all night while I slept to make sure I was safe. I'm so glad I gave him that chance. He's been the absolute love of my life, and we're now 8 years and 2 kids down the line. It doesn't matter how it happened, it just matters that it happened. I have had a crush on her since I was 12 to 13 years old, lol. And we started dating when I was 25, so I can understand her hesitation. When I was 15, one of my best guy friends told me he had a crush on me. Our whole friend group knew. I never thought of him like that, and I honestly didn't even want to consider it. Until one day after a fight, we were talking and we ended up kissing. Fast forward 12 years later and we're very happily married, with a house and a dog and trying for a baby. Sometimes hesitation is normal, but things have a way of working out. My wife didn't want to watch with me on the sites we met on because I was too young and didn't look serious. Married 8 years. Edit. Forgot to add why she did. Her mom thought I looked sweet. Now her mom hates me, but my wife loves me. Now for the last story. Update. My girlfriend 32 female has been very sad since she found out her ex-boyfriend is getting married. Original post. So I 30 male have been dating my girlfriend for about 4 months now. Everything was going great for us till she learned that her ex-boyfriend of 9 years was getting married. They had broken up in June last year, and we started dating in July this year. We have tons in common, and we really enjoy each other's company. Anyways, last week, one of her old friends who knew her ex informed my girlfriend that he was getting married to his new girlfriend. My girlfriend was shocked, to say the least. And when her friend left, she went on Facebook and spent almost an hour looking through his profile. Okay, he was a longtime boyfriend, so she must have been curious. But ever since that day, she has been really sad and stressed, and keeps spending her time on Facebook looking through everything about her ex and his bride-to-be. When I finally asked if he was the one that got away from her, she denied it. She said something along the lines of, "I want to see what's special about her." She says she isn't pining for him. He didn't treat her well, and that even if he asked her, she wouldn't go back. In fact, he had reached out to her multiple times after breaking up, but she turned him down every time. So guys, my question is this. If you don't love him still, then why be so sad about his marriage? Why keep obsessing over his bride-to-be? What am I missing here? Now for the top advice before reading the update. He strung her along for 9 years and is marrying the girl he only recently met. That's probably where her sadness is coming from. Why wasn't she good enough to garner a commitment like marriage? What does this girl have that she doesn't? Not logical, but that's probably what's running through her mind. You might be right. I don't know the intricate details of their breakup, but she did say that they broke up because they couldn't agree on the future. And she has mentioned to me that she does want to be married and have kids. Putting these 2 points together, the situation might have been closer to what you describe. And to be honest, her ex did sound like a tool. He made 5 times her salary, but they always went 50-50 in all expenses. On our first date, I took her out to a fancy restaurant, which I also wanted to visit for a long time. We had a gala time, but the next day she called me and apologized and then told me that she would only be able to pay her half of the meal in installments, as she didn't have that much cash at the moment. It took me a moment to understand she was talking about the dinner last night. I told her that I invited her, so it was my treat. Then she told me that her ex-boyfriend made her transfer her share after every outing they had, all throughout their relationship. It was weird, to be honest, but I didn't probe much further as it was just after our first date. I dated someone for 8+ years who was basically the same as this guy you describe. I rejected his begging to get back together and moved on. If he had got engaged a year after I left, I would have been a mess too. It's more of a grief about life than a grief about love. It will weigh on you though, so be understanding, but also encourage her to have a slumber party with her best friend and send her off with wine at her favorite junk food. It's more a grief about life than a grief about love. Very beautifully put. Now for the update. So I got a lot of advice on my last post. Thank you. Most of it was helpful, with a lot of commenters detailing their own personal and painful experiences with similar situations. It was an eye-opening experience for me, so a special thanks to those commenters. Some comments were regular advice to break up, and one of them even called me a cucumber. But all in all, making this post did really help me a lot in deciding on how to approach this with my girlfriend. So anyways, now let's get on with the actual update. After reading the comments and doing some thinking, I decided the best course of action is to talk to her. So I went to her favorite restaurant, got her favorite dish packed, and then went to her apartment. When she came out, I told her that, look, I can't say I understand what you are going through, because I don't. It's something personal to you, and as much as I would like to help you out or share some of your grief, I respect your choice and decisions. But as your boyfriend, I do have some rights here, and I'm invoking that right and asking you that you not be hungry and sad. If you want to be sad, then please be sad on a full stomach filled with your favorite food. That's all I ask. Hearing this, she became emotional. Then she said, I haven't been the best girlfriend in the world for the past week, and I apologize for that. It's just that it's been hard for me to see someone with whom I spent 9 years of my life and who gave me a lot of excuses. Now he is just disregarding his own statements. Can you imagine anyone in a 9-year-old relationship where the couple don't live with each other or don't go on holidays together? They have absolutely no talk of getting engaged or married. Hell, he even got upset if I sent him a text while he was working. Well, me and my ex were like that. On top of that, he always used to say that marriage as an institution is archaic and he won't participate in it. Also, he looked down upon age gap relationships too. Now he is marrying someone 8 years younger than him. It is already living with her and gone on holidays together too. That's why I have been feeling down. I don't want him back. I have already upgraded to a much higher level. She meant me. But it's just a feeling of wasting 9 years of my life, which is the most painful. So I gave her a hug and told her that if she wanted a shoulder to cry on or a mouth to talk trash about her ex, I can do both. So we both shared a laugh then. When I was leaving, she asked if she can stay with me for a few days, as she doesn't want to be alone. I said sure. So she came with me, and right now she's setting up her workstation in my other bedroom while I'm making this update. She will be staying with me the whole week. So thank you again, people. You have been of immense help. I think she was just mourning the answer to the question, why is he doing this stuff for her and not me? And that answer is, because you let him, is the most devastating of all. Yes, she may be feeling like it's her fault. I can't imagine the blow for her self-esteem. Good to see that Opie followed good advice and faced the problem in a positive way. I think you handled this perfectly. Her self-esteem has taken a hard hit. Had a similar experience. When it's over and you're left feeling like you wasted all those years with someone who didn't really love you, it leaves you feeling somewhat unworthy of love. One of the last things I said to my ex before I broke off all contact was, I'm not sad because I want you back. If he had not been in my life, I could have maybe found someone who truly loved me, rather than spend years with someone who used me until a person they could love came along. I'm sad because I wish I had never met you. I think your girlfriend is feeling like that right now. Your understanding and comfort probably means so much more to her than you could ever know.